Yes, I have done it. I have obtained a PlayStation 5. I had to do some things that I'm not proud of, including buy NBA 2K and a second controller that I don't need. But I got it. I got it. First try, actually, through GameStop. So after 500 tries of Walmart, GameStop is actually capable of processing an order. But I have it. I have the PS5. I have the Demon's Souls, and I shall return to the franchise that once was. Now, don't get me wrong, Demon's Souls looks nice, it really does. It looks like an up-to-date 2020 game that would have run in 30 on PS4, running in 60 FPS on PS5. It does not look like blow-me-away $500 brand new console good. It doesn't. I'm sorry. The two biggest bonuses for that are the 60 frames a second mode. Now, there's a cinematic mode, which runs in 30 with a higher resolution, and some of the effects are a little different. And I really, really never wanted to have to say this, but I can't tell the difference. It's 1440p in performance mode, and it's native 4K in cinematic mode. I'm staring a foot away from my TV with one eye closed, trying to see the difference as I switch back and forth. And there isn't one. There isn't one. I'm sorry. You cannot tell the difference. And so thus, there is literally no reason to run this in cinematic mode. It's a really good looking game, don't get me wrong, but it looks very gritty and high texture quality. It has an oddly modernist HUD. You know, Dark Souls 1 and had like a really kind of gritty, medievally broken up looking HUD, like everything was cracked. Bloodborne, like all the boss health bars, looked like giant vials of blood that like spattered on the inside, and as they kind of drain, that's a better word. Demon's Souls just looks like a very clean, sleek, new, modern HUD, and I kind of don't like that. The single best thing I have to say about the performance of this game is the load times. Good, sweet Lord Jesus Christ, it's a 2.5 second load time when you die, and then you come right back to life. In a game where you die as often as you do, that is a godsend from the Lord himself. Thank you, sweet Jesus. Love you. Some of the boss missile sound effects are really, really poppin'. Like those blue lasers that the Tower Knight throws at you, those crack the speakers, and they sound great. The game did crash twice. It took me 40 hours to beat it once, and then I spent about another 7 hours in New Game Plus. 2 crashes in 40 hours, not the worst thing in the world. And there's a solid chance this is an issue with the controller, the DualSense, and not the actual game software, but very frequently I shoved when I meant to swing, and I rolled when I meant to sprint, and that does get you killed. People call Dark Souls the spiritual successor to Demon's Souls, and I'm not really sure why, because it's just the successor. It's literally the exact same game. Dark Souls 2 is more different from Dark Souls 3 than Dark Souls 1 is from Demon's Souls. For better and worse, it's Dark Souls 4. And as per usual, the core gameplay is excellent. It started with 2009, and it is now 11 years later. Demon's Souls' original combat is undefeated today. It is so precise, it is so smooth, and it just works.
And again, it just works.
And the way the game is structured, too, before the Phalanx Demon, it gives you a couple of the little blob dudes. It allows you to play with them, figure out who they are, and learn how to beat them. The game's overall design of introducing you to new enemies and concepts before throwing you into the meat grinder is a pretty great, subtle way of having a tutorial. I have to say the gestures are really lame. There's no wave, and the praise hurrah is like this weird, like, black people NFL, like, whoo, 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 like 3 in rapid succession. It's not just like this silly, goofy, well, yeah, like arms up that they have been doing, but they had room for a face palm and for a high five that doesn't get responded to, so your character will literally like put up his hand and then look around and then take it down. Like, that is so dumb. Dark Souls 2 did it best. Hello, I'm sorry. It takes after Dark Souls 3 where you can't upgrade the armor, it's just there static. And honestly, there's very few armor sets in this game. I went through the entire first half of the game in the fluted set because I picked the knight, and it wasn't until the end, and then I started going through doing NPC questlines that I started to find other pieces of armor. All in all total, having finished the game, that's not a lot. And there's no capes. What the hell? I like capes. Capes look nice. No cloth physics as they flap behind you.
No capes.
Isn't that my decision?
No capes!
The magic is super terrible. The magic is super limited. So in Dark Souls 2, you had like Soul Dart, Soul Arrow, Greater Soul Arrow, Soul Spear. It's not like that in Demon's Souls. There's Soul Arrow and Soul Ray. That's it. It's pretty standard. There's an invisibility spell, there's a water heat shield spell, there's a poison cloud spell, and then there's like a generic defense ray spell. And other than that, it's just damage. They really blew it with the magic. It's very limited. And the effect on the enchanted weapon looks kind of shitty. Like, it's this weird glow. Like, the pine resin flames on your sword look great. Nice, bright, vibrant, glowing orange, but the blue one looks like they added it in post and they rushed it. It's kind of shitty looking. There's no jumping or plunging attacks, which, you know, scales back your options a teeny bit. It's not the hugest deal in the world, but it doesn't. There's not as much vertical gameplay in Demon's Souls. You're kind of just facing everybody on a level playing field. And when you have a shield, obviously, L1 is block, L2 is parry, and then if you dual wield your primary weapon in your right hand, L1 and L2 do the same thing, so there's no added bonus for L2 for having a dual-wielded weapon. Equipment degradation, too. I don't think ever in it's probably because it replenishes at the bonfire, but I do not think a single weapon of mine ever broke in the entire Souls trilogy. Stuff was constantly breaking on me here. So you actually have to use those little edge sharpening stones and then go back to the blacksmith repair stuff, which again is fine. I do not have a problem with an equipment degradation, provided there is a way to solve it. Breath of the Wild! And it is a pain in the ass when you're at the Nexus and the Filthy Man doesn't come back to the Nexus. So the Filthy Man appears in 2 places. There's items he only sells at the 2nd place. And after you find him at the 2nd place, if you go back to his 1st place in the smithing grounds, he's right next to the Archstone. He doesn't give you the stuff that he sells you in the half of the level. So if you want large, sharp, and hard stones, you literally have to go halfway through the level of Tunnel City. And Tunnel City is the worst level in the whole fucking game. He can't just park his bum ass in the Nexus. How many possible other customers do you have? Now, there are only 2 rolling speeds. If you're over 50%, you fat roll. If you're under 50%, you don't. And fat rolling, I think, is probably by far the most generous fat roll out of all the Souls games that I remember anyway. I think Dark Souls 2 had 4 rolling speeds, and Dark Souls 1 had at least 3. But there's only 2 in Demon Souls, which, you know, it breaks down the customizability. You're either a tanky build or you're not. So there's no incentive to, like, run around naked. It's one of the more frustrating things about Demon Souls. I like the idea, the concept of inventory management. Like, you only have so much room, you have to choose what you take with you. But when you're literally just trying on new armor and you're in the Nexus going back and forth trying to get it upgraded, and you're trying to just buy healing grass at the new place, at the vendor, and that healing grass is 17 fucking pounds. Are you shitting me? It's a big pain in the ass. And then there's a ring you have to put on, and then it won't let you take off the damn ring until you get rid of everything. And the game doesn't allow you to sell any of your items, so especially if you're on a New Game Plus playthrough, you're getting duplicates of all the same shit. And I have 18 Dregling shields in my inventory, and I cannot get rid of any of them, so they're just sitting in Stockpile Thomas, filling up his trunk. Rude. Now, interestingly enough, while they're not generous enough there, they are too generous with it when it comes to sending stuff to storage. You can literally send stuff to the Nexus from anywhere in the world, which is kind of silly and almost too easy, I'm not gonna lie. And now, granted, it's nice because you never have to leave anything behind, but I would kind of like the idea of having to plan ahead, leave extra room for stuff you might find. And it's very strange, the various quality of life changes that Bluepoint made. I didn't play the original Demon Souls on PS3, but I'm familiar with the changes and the tweaks that they made. World tendency is the other big difference between Dark Souls and Demon Souls, and this is not explained to the player at all. And it's kind of a huge deal. So thank God I'm subscribed to Vadi Voodles, and he told me all about it. And it's not a noticeable problem at all. If you literally just, every time you turn human, you just kill yourself with a Nexus, you never have to worry about world tendency at all. And then you just gradually turn towards white as you defeat bosses in the area. But it is possible if you're trying to summon for the bosses and you're in human form and you fail and you die. Every time you die in human form, you lose world tendency, which means the game gets harder. And once you're pure black, the game is ridiculously hard. So this happened to me in Inner Ward, which is the, I think, 1-3. It's the area leading up to the Penetrator boss fight, and that's one of the longest areas in the game. And there are these primeval demons that you can kill to restore your world tendency back to towards white. But this guy is at the end of the damn level. And it's like, oh, just kill him if your world gets too black. Okay, the problem is I can't get to him. I spent, honestly, probably a good 5 of my 40 hours just trying to trudge through that shit. And you have these stupid Imperial spies that one-tap your whole shield guard with a spin kick. And like I said, Demon Souls has all of the things that make Dark Souls great, and it has all of the things that make Dark Souls unbearable. Summoning Phantoms is still laughably archaic. You have to be in a specific place, plant a sign on the ground, and you cannot leave. So if you just beat a boss and you like to fight the boss, because kind of some of the bosses are pretty darn fun, Tower Knight and Flame Lurker in particular, you can leave someone's sign in front of the boss after you beat the boss, and then you can get summoned into other people's world to help them fight the boss. But you cannot leave past that boss room or your summon sign disappears. So you can't call back to be summoned and then still continue through the level. So you literally have to just wait there or go back and farm the level you just completed. That is dumb. And if you do leave this area, you get this pop-up on your screen that says, oh, your soul sign has disappeared. And it locks out all your controls until you hit X, which gets you killed. Really, it's like, okay, fucking, I get it. All right, you don't want me to summon. Fine, I won't. And after playing Dark Souls 1, 2, 3, Bloodborne, and now Demon Souls, you have to confront the reality that all of the problems in Dark Souls 3 today have been here since 2009. The camera still sucks. Enemies still get to ignore the collision detection. They get to hit you clean through walls. You get caught in stupid areas and it gets you killed. You cannot roll over the tips of ladders. These boss run gauntlets are the stupidest, most tedious, disrespectful waste of the player's time I have ever seen. These are not a challenge. These are not a test of player skill. This is tedium. This is time wasting. This is archaic, shitty, glaringly bad game design. Some of these shortcuts are not shortcuts. You have to get halfway through the level, and then there's a shortcut, and then there's still another quarter of the level left. The level design is terrible. It's trash. Some of the shortcuts are in laughably unnecessary places. The gauntlet run up to Old King Allant. There's a shortcut that takes out like 20 feet. There's one door 20 feet from another door, and that's a shortcut. Really? Are you shitting me? You still have to run through the dragon and 2 Red-Eye Knights. What dumbass designed that? Some of these boss runs, even with shortcuts, are 2+ minutes. And then there's Flame Lurker, who you can skip the entire level entirely. If you have the cat ring, you can just go over and fall down all the scaffolding and go right to the boss. You can skip the entire level of Tunnel City, which, I'm not gonna lie, it's kind of nice, because Tunnel City sucks ass. Would it kill you to just put an elevator there that you activate once you're at the bottom? There's already an established theme of elevator shortcuts in the smithing grounds. That does not make any sense. This is not a minor inconvenience. This is not a nitpick. This is the major glaring flaw that the series has refused to address. And at this point in time, my opinion of Miyazaki is not much higher than that of Kojima's, which is to say, not very high. Miyazaki thinks he is a genius. Miyazaki refuses to accept constructive criticism. Miyazaki thinks his games are perfect. Miyazaki refuses to change or adjust anything at all. This is not something that would make the game easy or hand-holding. It is just basic etiquette to not waste my fucking time. Some of these levels are beautiful. The castle walls, while rather generic as far as medieval go, it's classic dungeon crawling medieval action RPG. And you have the kind of stone-washed white walls with the green vines and the white roses. Sometimes the game is very pretty. And then you have poison swamps. This series has gotten away with some of the worst art direction and level design I have ever seen in this industry. How people can compare Dark Souls to iconic artwork like The Witcher, like Skyrim, like Warcraft, is beyond me. Yes, the boss designs are great. Yes, some of the music is great. Yes, the game can be at times beautiful, but there are some levels that are generic, bland, and boring as hell. I'm looking at you, Swamp. I'm looking at you, Tunnel City. Some of these levels stretch on far too long. They are slogs. They are a tedium to get through. And it's literally impossible to run past some of the enemies because they're in very tight, narrow corridors. Making the player suffer and redo the same shit over and over and over and over again does not make a game cool. It does not make a game... Alright, Souls fans, let me ask you, is there a such thing as too hard? I'm not complaining about the overall difficulty of the enemies or the bosses. I am complaining about the time-wasting, tedium, boring bullshit. Is there a difference between a difficult, fun, fair challenge and a boring waste of time? The series has gotten away with this for 5 fucking games. Souls fans, you in particular, probably the most ardent defenders of this kind of stuff, do you not want a better game? Do you think Dark Souls is perfect? Would you not like Dark Souls to improve? Can you not acknowledge the glaring flaws that potentially ruin the experience of an otherwise great game? Do you not want a more perfect Dark Souls? Then you have to call this shit out. You have to acknowledge credit where credit's due, and you have to call out bullshit where it is. And in Demon Souls, it's everywhere. The game is supposed to be hard. The game's not supposed to hold your hand. It's supposed to be a pain in the ass. Like, okay, is there a limiting principle to this? What if you take away the roll button? Which, oh, I'm sorry, you do that in the fucking swamp. You can't roll in the fucking swamp. What if you just make the screen black sometimes, all right? And you can't see. Is that too hard? Is that too inconvenient? Would that take down your opinion of this masterpiece of a game? Face it, there's no defense of this. It is just bad game design. And it provides a frustratingly unnecessary barrier to experience all of the game's glory, of which there is a lot. By the way, it also automatically initiates New Game Plus without warning, so thanks for that. Fuck you. Once you kill all the archdemons, you cannot speak to the Maiden in Black without initiating the final sequence. You can't even level up. Alright, and explain me this. For a game that's supposed to pride itself on being difficult but fair and having this brutal challenge to overcome and make you feel all satisfied, why are half of the bosses so fucking easy? The Phalanx Demon, Leechmonger, Maiden Astra, Old Hero, the False Idol, the Adjudicator, the Filthy Colossus, and the Holy Monk, I beat all on the first try. That is like 40% of the bosses. Now, just because a boss is easy doesn't mean a boss is shitty. I would say Phalanx Demon, Dragon God, Leechmonger Maiden, Old Hero, and False Idol are the shitty bosses. The Tower Knight, Armor Spider, Flame Lurker, Penetrator, Adjudicator. Adjudicator is easy, but he is cool. He is unique. These are the cool bosses. The Filthy Colossus, again, is this big, grimy looking dude, and he goes down way too easy. Now, I was a little over-leveled because I did all of the first 2 areas before I moved on to Depraved Chasm because I wanted to put off Blighttown 3.0 for as long as possible. King Alant's a badass, he's super fun. The Man-Eaters are meh. The Holy Monk has a unique concept because, you know, you're fighting other players. And the Storm King, again, once you find the actual Storm Ruler, it's easy as hell. But it's very atmospheric. You're in this gloomy, godforsaken island part of the map, and it's raining. And the giant stingrays making, like, whale sounds, like... It feels otherworldly and ethereal, and it's very, very cool. And there's a couple other bosses like that that do unique things. I like the idea of Maiden Astra, but dude, her bodyguard is trash. Oh, I killed him so easy. I didn't even have to parry him. The boss tracks and the core combat are by far the 2 biggest draws of these games and these series. And again, they are, once again, quite good here. But there are inconsistencies, and there are things that are more than minor inconveniences to the player that Blue Point had an opportunity to address, and they didn't. And which is baffling because they were not faithful to the game. They re-recorded a lot of the soundtracks. You can see your actual weapon degradation on the HUD. You can send stuff right back to storage. You can travel anywhere from any Archstone. You don't always have to go back to the Nexus. So why they didn't bother to add a couple more shortcuts right in front of the boss rooms is beyond me. And honestly, this could be a review for basically every Souls game. That's my biggest problem, is that not only are there flaws, they are unaddressed, repeated flaws that Miyazaki has doubled down on. And that's what makes this shit so unforgivable. So pray God hope for Dark Souls 4 they finally learn, because again, it is a great series. I've said it before and I'll say it again. Souls is one of the greatest series in gaming, but they do not have any one great game. They all suck at different things. They all suffer from major drawbacks. And to ignore and excuse those is just to be thick-headed with nostalgia goggles. And what is this nonsense with the hair color in your character creator? You have like 4 sliders. I have to match up the saturation and the hue and the contrast. What is this fucking bullshit ass? You can't just have a drop-down menu with light brown, brown, dark brown, dirty blonde, silver, gray, black, red. Fuck you. Trash. 0 out of 10. Would not bang. So now that I've played the only game in existence on PS5 and nothing else comes out for a while, I'd actually be happy to let any of you have it. Just leave a comment below. It'll only cost you $3,000.